So welcome everybody. It's amazing to see so many people here today. The Mindfulness Initiative vision is of an interrelated, thriving world where awareness, compassion and openness are core to our immediate experiences and shape our future. To help achieve this, our mission is to weave mindfulness into public and social policy, and the declaration from the UN in making the 21st of December World Meditation Day is an important milestone, and we're very glad to welcome everybody here today. I'd like to hand over to Chris at this point to welcome everybody and to welcome our speakers and just to say a couple of words about our international work as he does that. Welcome, Chris. Chris is our international policy lead at the Mindfulness Initiative, and without Chris, you know, the work that has been done internationally just wouldn't have happened for the organisation. So thank you, Chris.
My audio. Am I on? Can you hear me? Right. Yeah, as Richard said, I'm Chris Ruane. I'm chair of the Mindfulness Initiative's Global Network. And I first came across Mara. I'd heard of her, but never actually met her. First met her in July, early August, in fact, at the Bangor conference. And what a human dynamo, what an advocate and ambassador for mindfulness around the world. And Mara has been with the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights since 2012, dedicating many years to addressing issues related to racism, racial discrimination, and the rights of Indigenous people. Currently, she serves as the head of the OHCHR newly established Wellbeing Unit, fantastic development, where she leads the UN Human Rights Mindfulness Initiative. This initiative focuses on fostering and enabling work environment, supporting staff in cultivating present moment awareness and enhancing workplace dynamics. In 2022, she was awarded a UN sabbatical research grant to explore the potential implications of mindfulness-based interventions for the OHCHR staff under the supervision of the great Rebecca Crane from Bangor University, which is only 30 miles from where I'm sat now. And Mara holds a PhD jointly awarded by the University of Bern and La Sorbonne, focusing on the adaptation of Tibetan meditation practices in the West. So you're a formidable woman, Mara, and I take my hat off to the work that you have been doing, are doing, and will be doing. As we say in Wales, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, really, Chris, for this presentation. And good morning to everyone, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And let me say that it's really a great honor to me to say a few words about this newly adopted resolution, Resolution A/79/L.27, that proclaims today, December 21st, as the World Meditation Day. And this resolution really marks a milestone, as Richard has said, in the global recognition of meditation as an essential tool to promote mental and emotional well-being. And it was adopted unanimously by the General Assembly, which underscores, I believe, the universal relevance and the importance of these topics in today's world. This resolution was co-sponsored initially by a core group of member states, which included Liechtenstein, Andorra, Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, and Mexico. In addition to that, it received the support of a broader coalition of co-sponsors, 71 member states, including, among many others, Bangladesh, Bulgaria, Burundi, the Dominican Republic, Iceland, Luxembourg, Mauritius, Monaco, Mongolia, Morocco, Portugal, and Slovenia, among many others. And some countries, for example, Japan, Norway, Costa Rica, they were unable to formally co-sponsor the resolution due to internal policies in their capitals restricting support for new international days, as we have many already. but they fully endorse the resolution in spirit and in principle. And if you wish, I can share the complete list of co-sponsoring countries in the chat or to Chris and Richard after the meeting. And this resolution is particularly significant because in the current UN framework, it's not really common to declare new international days. However, the overwhelming support received from all regions of the world really reflects this unifying power of meditation as a universal practice. And I'm really proud to say that during the introduction of the resolution to the General Assembly, the 6th of December, the OHCHR Mindfulness Initiative was highlighted as an example in the UN system, as a practice that really, and as, let's say, as an institutional practice that really enhance staff well-being. And I think, of course, we don't need to say it, but I will say it anyway, that the World Meditation Day is, of course, not merely about dedicating one day of the year to this practice, but it's really about promoting meditation as a tool that can and should be incorporated into our lives every single day. And this is what the UN International Days mean. So this resolution in particular recognizes the universality of meditation as a practice that really goes beyond borders, cultures, and traditions. And the choice of December 21st, today, is also symbolic because this day marks the winter solstice in many parts of the world, and it also complements the International Yoga Day that is celebrated on June 21st, which coincides with the summer solstice in some parts of the world. So together, these two observances really create a balance, and it highlights also the connection, historically and profound, between yoga and meditation as complementary approaches to fostering health, mindfulness, and well-being. And this year's theme for the International World Meditation Day is meditation for global peace and harmony, which is particularly relevant for all of you present here today. I think to mark this first World Meditation Day, we had yesterday a very beautiful guided practice, also led by Mark Williams. And also there was an event organized by member states, along with a number of specific activities that were hosted by individual member states, including yesterday in New York, in the main headquarters of the United Nations in New York, by India. And all these events that are happening really show the enthusiasm, like this one, of course, and the dedication to this day around the world. Before I conclude, I would like to share a special message from our dear United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Türk, that was released this morning to celebrate this very first World Meditation Day. And as you will hear him now, I think his words really highlight the significance of this global observance, and also the commitment of the international community to well-being and to peace. I will leave you with his message, and I will thank you deeply for this invitation to share this moment with you all. Thank you.
Meditation is more than just a personal practice. It is a universal and time-honored approach to fostering resilience and promoting well-being. At a time when our world faces unprecedented challenges, meditation helps us manage stress, improve focus, and foster mutual understanding. It reminds us that healing is both an internal and external exercise, requiring self-awareness of our emotions and how to apply these insights in our work and in our relationships. It strengthens our ability to navigate complex and often tense environments with clarity and empathy, reinforcing our capacity to promote human rights in meaningful ways. The values underpinning meditation are fundamental to compassionate human rights advocacy and effective diplomacy. On World Meditation Day, I invite everyone to embrace meditation to help us keep us centered amid challenges and to listen with openness to help us better advance human rights for all.
Thank you very much for that, Mara, and for securing those wise words from Volker Türk. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you're doing. As Richard said, I am chair of the Mindfulness Initiative Global Forum, engaging with politicians and advocates in 50 countries around the world, trying to introduce mindfulness into their legislatures, which we've been successful with 14 countries. And my job in doing that is made much more easier because of this UN declaration. You and the UN have helped to normalize mindfulness, which can be a barrier when meeting with politicians to convince them of the benefits of mindfulness. So thank you very much once again. Our next speaker, I don't think he'll be doing too much speaking. He is helping us to meditate. Is one of my mindfulness heroes who I've known for 12 years now, 13 years, I think. And he has done a massive amount of work in taking the science of mindfulness forward, along with Zindel Ziegel from Toronto University and John Teasdale from Cambridge University. 20 years ago, they amassed the science for MBCT and gave this science to the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, which oversees all of the clinical and medicinal procedures in the British National Health Service. They looked at the science and said, this is MBCT is as good as antidepressants for the treatment of repeat episode depression. So Mark and his colleagues are pioneers in this field. But their work has spread to health services around the world, which has reduced not just in the diminution of human suffering, but also the expansion of human flourishing. And he has not just left this as dry science with national institutions. He has popularized his work, popularized mindfulness through his great book, Peace in a Frantic World, which he co-authored with Danny Penman. And this book, I think, is one of the most read in psychology in the United Kingdom, if not around the world. It's popularized mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, normalized it. And so I want you to thank you, Mark, for the work that you've done on in the health sphere, but also, again, from the Mindfulness Initiative perspective, you introduced those mindfulness lessons in the United Kingdom Parliament, the very first one, and we've got our 12th anniversary in a month's time. You introduced that lesson in the House of Commons. And since that time, 350 politicians, 900 members of staff in the United Kingdom Parliament have benefited from the work that you have done and your scientific work, your generosity of spirit, and your leadership and wisdom in the whole sphere of mindfulness globally. So thank you very much, and we're really looking forward to your meditation practice today. Again, and the other thing about Mark, of course, he is a Welshman, born and raised, or for the first in Wales, in Harden, 20 miles that way, and I think till the age of 8 was living in Aberystwyth. So we're very proud of you as a son of Wales, Mark. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
It's very lovely and a great privilege to be here. As I heard the talks that we've just heard, thought about the great family that we belong to, an ever-increasing family of brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents, and also children and grandchildren in the field of mindfulness. And like all families, it's really interesting to be part of a family. And the mindfulness is part of this meditation family. It's a driver in many ways of the larger meditation family. But on World Meditation Day, let's do some practices. So we'll do 2 short practices with a little gap in between for you to share your experiences. So let's do our first practice now, finding a posture that for you embodies a sense of being awake and aware. Mostly we sit for this, but feel free to stand, or if it feels right to you to lie down, that's also perfectly fine. Closing your eyes if that feels comfortable to you, or lowering your gaze. And noticing whatever posture you're in, becoming aware of the body as it stands or sits or lies. this body breathing. And to start, maybe taking some deeper breaths. So in a moment, taking a deeper breath in and then letting it go. And then when you're ready, a second deeper breath. And when you're ready, letting it go. And then for the last time, a deeper breath and letting it go, allowing the shoulders to drop so the head is balanced, shoulders relaxed, facial expression soft. And then when you're ready, gathering your attention and placing the attention down in the feet. And seeing what sensations are here when your attention arrives. In the toes, soles of the feet, the heel, tops of the feet. Until you're holding both feet center stage in awareness. Seeing if it's possible to notice what sensations are here, coming and going. A sense of aliveness in the feet. And if at any point the mind wanders away from the feet, then very gently, without giving yourself a hard time, inviting the attention to come back. Open and curious, sort of taking a friendly interest in these sensations. And then at a certain point, taking a deeper breath. And as you breathe out, letting go of the feet and bringing the spotlight of attention to the contact with whatever you're sitting on or lying on. If you're standing up, this will be the feet on the floor, but if you're sitting, it's the body on the chair. Aware of the heaviness of the body and the contact with the chair, of gravity drawing you down. If you're lying down, the contact with the mat or the floor or the rug. And once again, seeing if it's possible to be open and curious, not taking for granted what you'll feel in this part of the body, seeing what's new here each moment. And taking a deeper breath. And as you let go of the breath, letting go of this part of the body as well, and bringing the attention into your hands. Fingers and thumbs, the backs of the hands and the palms of the hands. The contact the hands are making with whatever is supporting them. What sensations are here, moment by moment? Some sensations stay a little longer, some change quite quickly. See if you can become aware of this. There's a sense of relaxed awareness here. Just noticing if your shoulders have tightened up as you focus in this way, letting them drop, and then coming back to the hand. And then at a certain point, taking a deeper breath, and on the out breath, letting go of the hands and coming to the breath itself. Some place where you can feel the breath moving distinctly, might be in the nostrils or in the chest or down in the belly. And resting here, and in the same way being open and curious and seeing what's new, moment by moment. Sensations that tell you you're breathing right now. And once again, the mind may wander away from where you had intended it to be on the breath. And when that happens, it's not a mistake. The mind takes its opportunity to get on the case of any problems or issues that you're concerned about. Especially when we meditate and it says, this is the time to sort out everything from the world's problems to family problems and friends' problems, or anything trivial or important can come up. See if it's possible to appreciate what the mind's trying to do, even to thank the mind for all the work that it does. And so when the mind wanders, just taking a pause and noticing where it went, thinking, planning, remembering, and then thanking the mind. Sense of appreciation, if that's possible, before slowly coming back, no rush, to where you had intended your attention to be at the moment, the breath. Sometimes when the mind gets very busy, it can feel really overwhelming, and it sometimes helps just to let go of the busyness. Because right now, for most things, there's no action that we're going to take. And it sometimes helps on an out-breath when the mind is very busy to say to ourselves, no action needed right now. Right now, no action needed. And so if for you this morning, the mind is very busy, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are, in this meditation and beyond, it's really helpful to find your ground in your feet or hands or contact with what you're sitting on or with the breath. It's really helpful to thank the mind for all the busyness of trying to sort things out for you, even behind the scenes. And it's really helpful sometimes to say, no action needed right now. And so as this practice is in its last few moments, just staying with the breath, or if you choose, the feet, contact with seat or the hand. A sense of rest. Sense of wholeness. Sense of peace. And when you're ready, beginning to move fingers and toes, allowing the eyes to open if they've been closed, and taking in your surroundings again. Thank you. In a moment, we're going to open the chat, and that's an opportunity for sharing anything you'd like. You don't have to share anything you like of your experience of that practice. What we did in the practice is to offer alternative places to be in the body. The breath is the default option for many of us, but it can sometimes be useful to be with the feet or with the hands or with the contact with seat, which sometimes provides stronger signals when our minds are very, very busy and we want to drop our attention into the body. Sometimes the breath is just too quiet, and it's helpful to be in the feet or the contact with seat or the hands as alternatives. So if that was true for you, that you found these other places to ground were more helpful in grounding your attention, then it's really helpful to share that with others of what you discovered. And also the sense of letting go of action. We know that the part of the way the mind works and understands the world is through enacting it. It's sort of actually the brain just works up a little sort of module of action, moment by moment by moment. And these can tumble over each other and get entangled. So it's really quite helpful. If you want to take wise action, it's sometimes useful to let go of all these tiny actions that are building up. And saying no action needed right now is one way of doing that. So it's helpful if you'd like to share your experience with that, to put that in the chat. So the chat's now open, I think. And so feel free to share with others how that's been for you. So it's useful, somebody mentioned about the, thanks Brenda, the sense of the chest infection, using another ground is helpful. and the sense of letting go of action as an addition, and the feet for some people, and again, the no action needed. And that's really helpful when you know, yes, often we judge our mind for wandering, and it's incredible how much that happens. Even when we've told ourselves a million times it doesn't matter, still we judge ourselves when the mind wanders. So that's really helpful. And letting go of action again. Thank you, Elizabeth. And yeah, it is, as then it says, such a good reminder. Yeah. The mind is so often trying to do things. Absolutely. And the sense of appreciation for the mind. Yeah. And of course, saying no action needed doesn't mean you're going to be passive. It doesn't mean you're going to sort of just be a jellyfish lying on the beach. It's actually a way of clearing the mind so you can see what's wisest. Even in conversation sometimes, it's wisest when you feel like saying something to say, no action needed right now. And that can save a lot of hassle and a lot of argument sometimes, just to be silent in conversation and to listen instead of always wanting to take action. Yeah, and thanking the mind before, wandering off. Yeah. And actually, somebody mentioned that the hands were more pleasant. And actually, yes, it's funny, isn't it, that sometimes we only know where we can rest our attention by the feedback we get that this feels pleasant. And it's really good to savor that pleasantness and be attuned to the pleasantness. You don't have to get attached to it, but being attuned to the pleasantness of different parts of the body, I think, is really helpful. And Peter mentioned about, yes, you need as many reminders as possible to be friendly to your own mind, because, again, we know it intellectually, we've heard it a million times, but sometimes every day we need to renew our sense of friendliness to our own mind and self and body. To thank all experiences. Well, thank you very much for that. We'll just close the chat in a few moments more, so feel free, if you're still putting something in, to let it wander into the chat. And we do appreciate the sense of being here, able to share these things with each other. Thank you. So we'll close the chat now, and we're going to do our second meditation. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Gert. And do our second meditation. And this meditation will start with grounding. As you've said, it's really useful to see what's most right now, what's most helpful in grounding the mind. It may be the breath for you. It may not be the breath for you. And taking forward all that we've been doing up till now, when the mind wanders, appreciating it, and before we come back, just taking a pause without rushing back. No need to rush back to the breath. If the mind wanders off because of a word or a phrase that's used, then it's not for us to try to judge what's going on there. So a sense of appreciation, allowing it to be as it is. And then we'll move to a loving kindness practice before we go back to the organisers for the last few minutes of our time together. So, taking our seat or lying or standing, whatever posture you feel is most helpful in bringing a sense of awakeness and awareness. Allowing our eyes to close if that feels comfortable, but just lowering our gaze if that feels right for us too. Feeling our body on the chair and checking in with these possible anchor points, these points of contact, the feet, contact with seat, hands, the breath, and choosing one place maybe to be the grounding for this practice, a place you can come back to if the mind just decides to go on holiday, to come home to a place to come home to, the feet or the contact with seat, the hands or the breath. Choosing one place. Of course, for you it might be a combination, maybe the breath in the background with the feet in the foreground. Whatever you choose, whatever feels to you to be somewhere where you can rest your attention with ease of being. Where the sensations, the stream of sensations, can remind you of your life. This being here. This being human. So staying with the chosen anchor point, with the place that feels most restful now. Noticing the sensations. And so in this meditation, we do the ordinary thing of simply attending, moment by moment, to the sensations in the body. Checking in from time to time to see where your mind is. And if it's wandered away from where you'd intended it to be, taking a pause, there's no rush. Noticing what it's doing, remembering or planning, and thanking the mind for its work. Before slowly, when you're ready, gently escorting the mind back to where you had intended it to be, until it goes again, as it will. And then the same. Taking a pause, thanking, coming back. No rush. No action needed right now. At a certain point, you might like to expand your attention to the whole body sitting here, breathing. From the crown of your head to the bottom of your feet and right out to the surface of the skin. The whole body sitting, standing, lying. Just as you are, just as your body is. A sense of being steeped in awareness, fully aware, fully alive, fully present for this body just as it is. When the mind gets busy, taking a pause, appreciating it, thanking it, and on an out-breath saying, no action needed right now. And then coming home. No rush. And as we sit here, as we remind ourselves how difficult it is to let go of judgment, to let go of harsh self-criticism, taking time now to practice turning towards ourselves in love and kindness. Maybe imagining a loved one, someone who we know loves us, someone we know now or used to know, someone who would always have our back, who always would support us, always treat us with kindness, some being who we know loved and appreciated us or loves and appreciates us, may even be a pet. And bringing that being to mind now, that person, that being, as if they were with us now and we could feel their presence and feel their love and feel their well-wishing towards us, how much they would wish us to be well. as if they were gazing at us, gazing upon us, knowing what they would wish for us, that we would be safe and feel free from all the suffering around us. And they'd wish that we'd be happy and as healthy as it's possible for us to be. They'd wish for us to find peace in the midst of everything that's going on. Feeling their good wishes and their love now. And our feelings towards them, allowing these to. And knowing that this kindness and love between us is stronger than anything else. And so seeing if we have the courage to say the same things for ourselves and to ourselves. If we can use words or phrases or just a sense, with this being sitting here, may this being be safe and free from suffering. May this being sitting here be as happy and as healthy as it's possible for me to be. May I be at peace. May this being be at peace. So wishing for yourself now a sense of being safe and free from suffering. Wishing yourself well. Maybe hearing your own name. Happy and as healthy as it's possible for you to be. Sense of finding peace in the midst of whatever's going on for you. And as we think of today, of meditation, traveling around the world in different time zones to so many different people, maybe now, as a token of this, bringing to mind someone you know who's struggling right now. You may know them well or hardly at all, but you know they're struggling. Maybe somebody you love or like a lot, or it might be somebody who comes to mind who you don't like very much, but somehow they're here in your mind, in your heart. Maybe somebody who's neutral, who you just know casually. Whoever it is, now bring them into your heart and mind, if it's possible for you. If not, then let it go. And wish them well too. May they be safe and free from suffering. May they be happy and as healthy as it's possible to be. May they find peace, even in the midst of what's happening to them. And then in a moment letting go of this and coming back to simply sitting here with this body, this mind, this heart, being fully present. Aware of the whole body sitting here, just as it is. Sense of wholeness and peace. And then when you're ready, beginning to move fingers and toes, allowing your eyes to open, taking in your surroundings again. Thank you. And I'm going to hand back to the team who will take us through to the end of our 1 hour together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I don't know Mark well, but his voice is the voice of an old friend, and I'm sure there are many of us on this call today who finds Mark's practices warm and familiar. Thank you, Mark. That was amazing. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Chris and obviously Mara as well for Chris for chairing the meeting and Mara for her amazing insights. What we'd like to do to finish, there are a lot of people in this room, and I've had a quick whiz round. There's 154 people in the room at the moment, and I've counted 26 different nations represented in this space, and I think that's an amazing reflection to mark World Meditation Day. So what we'd like to do to finish is echoing back to what Mara said in terms of World Meditation Day isn't about one day of the year where we sit down and become meditative. World Meditation Day is to frame the forthcoming year and to change our relationship with the world around us through our meditative practice. So what I'd like to do, we haven't got time to go around everybody, what I'd like to do is to invite you to put in the chat what you envisage for 2025 in your meditation practice. How do you want to shape the world through your practice? What do you hold in your practice for 2025? And as you're thinking of that, I'd just like to quickly share a poem that came to mind as I was listening to Mark. And it's a poem that many of you will be familiar with, and it's a poem by William Stafford. Starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor, what scent of old wood hovers, what softened sound from outside fills the air. Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you have found. Carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you spent reading or hearing this, keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now, starting here, right in this room, when you turn around? Compassion for all beings, including myself, for the earth. Bindali. Kate saying, I want to develop equanimity with whatever life throws at me and to thank the mind for the work it does for me. Kindness first, Marion. Liz Williams, being more compassionate and sharing compassion with others. Helen, in 2025, I wish to reconnect with my practice for me and others around me. Approaching 2025 with an open heart, Andrew. Being loving and mindful, father, husband, and friend. Theodora, the vision I hold for myself and the world is to remain in the eye of the tornado and increase the compassion exponentially. It's amazing. I wish for 2025 to the world to be greener and people to reflect the nature's balance. Thank you, everybody. And as we come to a close, I'll just leave you a couple of seconds to read the comments that are coming through. But as you leave the room now, it's 9 o'clock. What I would do is invite you to unmute yourself. And there's 26 nations in the room. So I would invite everybody just to say goodbye in your chosen language, just to share that connection with the whole group as we leave the room. So I'll start by saying goodbye, hwyl fawr in Welsh. So thank you, everybody. Diolch yn fawr.
Bye.
Richard.
Bye,
So much.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
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 再见。
Wow.
再见。
Bye.
拜拜。
Bye-bye.
再见。
Bye.
圣诞快乐。
Bye, Debbie.
拜。
Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss.
Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye.
拜。
Hwyl fawr, ffrindiau.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Marion.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, well.
Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to see everyone.